Fundraising is never easy, but one Lincolnshire-based company has come up with a way of supporting charities, helping the environment and bring a bit of extra income to village church and community halls. Hi everyone, I'm Johnny Thompson and welcome to the Village Halls podcast, sponsored by Allied Westminster, the UK's largest specialist provider of village hall insurance and the home of Village Guard. We often hear the phrase win-win, but my guest today is going to be talking about what you could call a bit of a win-win-win-win. Alexandra Holmes works for ASCO, a Lincolnshire-based storage and textile company that's working closely with charities and communities across the country to raise funds in a way that has all kinds of benefits. Hi Alex, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Johnny, for having me on here. I'm very excited to be on the podcast.
Brilliant. Before we get on to talking about ASCO and what it does, and in particular what you've been up to with Village Church and Community Halls, tell me a little bit about you and the company you work for.
Oh gosh, okay, where to start? Well, I would say, I've been working at ASCO for a couple of years now. My role is mostly working very closely with our charities and our community partners. So what I'll be getting onto, shortly, village halls as well, helping them to fundraise with clothing and clothing banks. So my role is to kind of outreach to everyone, kind of making them aware about what we do, and especially to people who might find benefit from it. So, charities, small communities, things like that.
And so tell me more about these free clothing banks, Alex, and how the idea came about and kind of how it all works.
Yes. So firstly, we did this 15 years ago with the Firefighters Charity, which is a whole nationwide charity helping to raise funds for firefighters. So it kind of started with that, and we found how successful that it was. So how that roughly works is those would be clothing banks placed outside of fire stations to, raise money for them. And we actually helped to raise 5 million for that charity.
Wow.
So that's kind of where it all started. And then we, especially over lockdown, realized that village halls really need that extra funding as well, because they're such a pivotal kind of part of our community and they offer a lot of support. And especially with COVID, where everything was slowing down and places couldn't open, I think that village halls took a massive hit. And I feel like giving them an option to kind of fundraise with us in this way, we've really found that it's benefited a lot of the, village halls that we work with.
Yeah. And of course, you're right. They really are like the focal point, aren't they, for many rural communities. And it's a great little scheme. If anybody's still not entirely sure, basically it's a big metal box, isn't it? That sits outside where you can take your old clothes, things that you don't want anymore, and effectively just donate them by adding them to like when you take things to the recycling and so on. Yeah, it's just like that, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yes. So our clothing banks can be placed anywhere kind of outside of a village hall on any surface. So a lot of the questions we kind of get asked is, I don't know if we've got enough room, kind of things like that. So really we can kind of make them fit in most places. And I would say they're actually quite aesthetically pleasing as well. That they're really nicely branded. We've spent a lot of time really trying to make them look something special and explain, what they do on them. Just so it kind of separates them from the bottle banks and things like that, because we want people to know that this is a way that they can fundraise and help support, their community projects. So that's, what we try and do with that.
And they're entirely free. You don't have to pay any kind of fee to have it there each month, no?
No, absolutely. It's completely free. This is a free scheme that we're offering to the village halls. So there's absolutely no cost whatsoever, and also no contracts as well. We don't do any contracts or anything like that with, our village halls and things.
Yeah. So a great source of additional funds basically to help village and church halls keep running.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I mean, we found with a lot of the village halls that we work with, it really does make a big difference to have that regular monthly income stream, because this isn't something that's just, a one off. It will always be there. So, throughout the whole entire year, you'll get kind of like a monthly payment for whatever has been donated.
Yeah. Now, we were going to get Mandy Armstrong from Taunton Village Hall to come on today as well, but unfortunately she hasn't been able to. However, I did speak to Mandy, and she's a big fan of the free clothing bank that they have from ASCO outside the hall. And she told me the scheme was brilliant. Brilliant was the word that she used, Alex.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of the story she told me as well sort of matched with what you said earlier, because she said that their charity shop had closed during the lockdown, and that the clothing bank really offered a great alternative. She made a great point too as well about the rising costs of running the hall, particularly energy costs. And what she said to me was that the money that they're receiving is making up a little bit, for the additional costs that they're having to pay out.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I mean, we hear that a lot, especially at the moment with the rise of everything. We find that there's so many different reasons people want to have this extra fundraising scheme for things like that, to just keep things running. Also, if they're having kind of any refurbishments, or they want to offer, additional services from the village hall. We even have worked with one village hall to help them raise money to get a defibrillator. So it's a great way to fundraise for whatever kind of idea or project that a village hall has coming up.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's probably worth mentioning as well, it's not just village and community halls that you help. As you mentioned before, the thing with the firefighters charity goes back a few years, and you do work with the Yorkshire Children's Trust as well, I understand. How does this kind of additional work with charity fit in with all of this?
So we offer the same kind of schemes for our larger charities as well. So, for example, with the Yorkshire Children's Trust, especially in that area, we kind of offer clothing banks on their behalf. So instead of maybe some village halls don't need the extra fundraising, or they would rather it go to a charity. So instead they could host, a Yorkshire Children's Trust bank instead. And that would really benefit that charity to have, the funds go to them to help them continue what they're doing. So that's kind of how we work with charities as well on that aspect of things.
Brilliant. And there's an important environmental benefit to all of this as well. In fact, I understand around half of all clothes that we throw away each year end up in landfill, which obviously isn't good, but you're stopping a lot of that from happening as well, right?
Yes, exactly. So, everything that is collected is either reused or recycled. So that's something that we're really big on, the very, environmental, eco impact on things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the figure is that 350,000 tons of clothing goes to landfill each year. So wow. You can imagine that's a huge amount of waste. So we try and do whatever we can to kind of eliminate this, and that's the whole goal of our company, as well as supporting the charities that we work with and small communities as well.
Where does all this come from with ASCO? Because a lot of people just dismiss businesses as money making machines, and that's all they're interested in. But it sounds to me like there's a social attitude there within the company. What's that all about? Why is the company doing all of this?
Yeah, I think we definitely saw a kind of need in the market, I suppose, to kind of connect those small communities and charities together in a way to fundraise that's beneficial and also help the planet as well. I feel like it's really benefiting so many areas that are so, important to us, and obviously being as eco-friendly as possible is such an important thing. Especially right now, it's fantastic to see that so many more people are, seeing the impact of their clothes and what's happening to them, and how we can try and eliminate that and be a bit more conscious when we're shopping and everything. So, to offer a way to kind of support these charities as well, it's a huge thing, and I'm really proud to be working for a company which really supports that, and it's at the ethos of everything that we do.
Yeah, I was just thinking that must feel really good to work for an organisation like that.
Yeah, it's so rewarding, especially, like you said with Mandy, knowing that those funds, even though, they may vary, that it really does make a benefit and helps those communities. It's a very rewarding job, definitely.
I understand you're also supporting something called Textiles 2030.
Yeah.
What's that, Alex?
So this is a scheme that we're also really proud of. So it connects DEFRA, major retailers, and also reuse recyclers like ourselves. And we work together on schemes to have full traceability in the industry. So this is from the manufacturer to the final end user. So creating a whole traceable loop, with the life of a clothing item. And I feel like this is a great way, again, to kind of help make the whole system better and kind of, prevent waste and making sure that we're all doing everything we can to be as eco-friendly as possible to help, protect the planet.
Yeah, because there's just too much waste, isn't there? And it's a great way of contributing, like you've said, to charity as well. So if anyone out there is listening and they're looking at their wardrobe and thinking, there's a few things that I haven't worn for many, many years, this is a great way of recycling that and providing additional benefits in the community.
Yes, that's it. It's a great way. I feel like everyone loves a spring clear out, especially. So, it's great to think that when you're donating those clothes, that not only are they not going to be contributing to landfill, but they're also going to be benefiting your local community as well. I think it's just a total win-win, like you said at the beginning of this podcast. So
yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, what I said at the beginning, what you're doing is a win for charities. It's a win for village, church and community halls. It's a win for the environment. And I guess as a commercial organisation as well, in all honesty, it's a win for you as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we are a business, but at the core of everything what we do is giving back and helping to protect the planet and everything. So yeah, it is great in terms of how it benefits everyone so much.
Fantastic. So for anyone out there who's listening and they're interested in maybe getting a clothing bank for their hall, what's the first step?
So the first step would be first to probably check out our website. So that is www.astco, so that's astco.co.uk. On there, we just have a video which, explains a little bit more in detail about what we do. And you can also fill out our kind of like application form, and we get back to you as soon as possible with that. And basically, as soon as you happy, I know it has to go to a lot of committee meetings and things like that, but as soon as you're ready to take a bank, then we'll completely organise all of that with you, keeping you in the loop at all times, and just arrange to get it out. We can usually get it out within a couple of weeks, really. So
fantastic, and there'll be a phone number on there and things there as well if people want to contact you that way. Yeah,
absolutely. All of the contact details will be on our website as well.
Okay, well, I'll make sure that there's a link to that with the episode on our website as well, Alex.
Oh, that's perfect. Yes, thank you.
But yeah, it's brilliant, and thanks very much for coming on and telling us about your scheme. I know yours isn't the only one out there, but you were very kind enough to connect with our podcast through Instagram. So here we are talking now, and all I would say is keep up the good work and best of luck with everything.
Oh,
I think it's a great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to support communities and at the same time prevent unnecessary waste.
Yeah, that's it. It's a total win-win. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on the podcast, Johnny. It's been great to speak to you. And yeah, hopefully we can help more village halls and some listeners in the future. Yeah,
no, absolute pleasure. And if, as I said, anyone out there is interested, again, because it sounds like a pretty simple thing to get up and running, really. It's a case of contacting you and then, get the bank outside the hall and let the local community start to do the work for everyone, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, really, as soon as you get in touch and say that you're ready, we just talk about whereabouts you'd like it to go, and then within a couple of weeks, we'll get it out to you and get the ball rolling. So yeah, it's a very quick and easy process. We try and make the whole process as easy and as straightforward for all the communities we work with, because we know that they don't need the additional stress and things like that. So any problems as well, you'll have an account manager who you can message and let know if any issues arise.
Brilliant. Well, as I say, thanks again for coming on and explaining all that. I really appreciate it, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And one last thing for everyone before we go, don't forget our wonderful Villagers Awards. There's 5 awards altogether, and each could result in £1,000 for your hall. We've had several entries in already, and yes, there is quite a few months to go until the closing date. But as I said, don't forget to enter. And if you can, spread the word as well. And so that's it for this episode. Big thanks to our headline sponsor and specialist insurance provider, Allied Westminster, for making our podcast possible, and whose services you can discover more about at villageguard.com, and to online booking system provider Hallmaster, who also sponsor our podcast and can be found at hallmaster.co.uk. You've been listening to the Village Halls podcast, a unique listening community for Britain's village, church and community halls, and anyone interested in the vital community services they provide. We'll be back again soon with another episode, so if you haven't already, visit thevillagehallspodcast.com to subscribe, sign up for updates, link through to our social media pages, and to find out more. But until the next time, goodbye for now.